Instead of making it this huge goal that might be hard for you to actually attain, like I'm gonna work out 5 days a week for the rest of my life. Just even saying that, if you haven't been working out at all, it might sound good, but when you set out to do it, just thinking about that future big thing of doing it forever can feel like a lot. Hey there, beautiful people. What's poppin'? This is Elena Dunn, licensed professional counselor, here to provide you with education, information, inspiration, and if you watch my other videos, you know I just like to sometimes have a little bit of fun too. This is not a substitute for therapy. If you feel that you are in need of a therapist, please be sure to check down in the description box where I have provided some resources for you to be able to find and reach out to a therapist. Are you thinking about a goal that you want to accomplish and you are setting out to be able to look back and feel good about what you've done? Well, perhaps the goal that you are setting out to do might just be overwhelming. Had you thought about that? In the past, when you've set out to accomplish goals that you haven't accomplished, it could likely be simply because the goal that you want to reach is just too overwhelming. You may not even think about the fact that it's overwhelming. You might be focusing on the idea of what life will be like for you once you complete the goal, but you haven't thought about exactly what it's going to take to make that goal happen. Exactly how you're going to do it really hasn't crossed your mind. Or maybe you've thought about it a little bit, but not the specifics of what you're going to need to do to make that goal happen for you. The specific actions and steps that you will need to take. How are you going to feel as you take those actions and steps? How are you going to adapt to those new steps and actions? In actuality, it's the feeling of having to adapt to the new actions, the feeling and the discomfort that may come with it when we take those actions and steps that may lead to us ultimately giving up on our goal. So how do you change this? Well, I want you to think about making the goal doable. And when I say doable, I'm not talking about the big overwhelming goal. I'm talking about the actual actions and steps that you're going to need to take to actually meet the goal. Make them doable. And as you make them doable, I want you to give yourself a little bit of flexibility, a little bit of wiggle room, so that you can continue to allow yourself to adapt as you work towards your goal. When I talk about our goals being overwhelming, I want to give you an example of that. Oftentimes, when we set out to reach a goal such as, this year, I'm going to read 5 books, but you haven't read any books in the last 5 years. That might be an overwhelming goal to go from not reading at all to trying to read 5 books by the end of the year. Consider this. How would you feel if you read 1 complete book that you enjoyed, a book that you got something from? Is that better than the fact that you haven't read any books last year? I think I would feel pretty good about coming to the end of the year and knowing that I actually completed a full book for the first time in 3 or 5 years. Now, when you break down the practical steps, the how you're going to do it, the actions, take time to evaluate exactly how you function. Whether that's how you function just within yourself, within your household, with your family, your social life, your work life, other things that you enjoy, how are you going to do the steps, the actions that you need to do to accomplish the goal? Yes, it is important to know exactly what you're going to do. Make sure that the steps are as effortless as possible, or at least they just take a minimum amount of effort. I want to explain this a little bit more. Sometimes I use my own experiences to help things to be a little bit clearer for you. So I'm going to do that right now, if you hadn't already guessed because of what I just said. My mother is an avid reader, and over the years, I've watched just how she does it. What I do know is that she reads a lot of books. When I look back over the years at how she has been able to do that, there are certain things that I noticed. One is that she seems to always have a book around. Now, when I'm at her home, I notice that sometimes when she wakes up in the morning, she will actually have the book with her in the kitchen area. So when she sits down to drink her morning coffee, she'll open her book and start reading it, and read it while she's drinking her coffee. She also seems to always have her book on her nightstand. Now, what I'm assuming is that she probably reads it at night sometimes, or maybe on the weekend she wakes up early in the morning or whenever she wakes up and reads some of her book. The other thing I noticed that she does is she seems to always have her book with her whenever she's away from her house. She just puts it in her purse. That way, if she runs into a period of time where she finds herself waiting, such as at the doctor's office or during some chill out time that we have during our family gatherings, she's able to just go get her book and read for a few minutes, or however long she feels like she has, without disassociating or removing herself from people, because I've never felt that from her. I just do notice that she does read, and because of that, she reads a lot of books. Here's another thing I've noticed that she does. She's a frequent traveler, so she always has her book when she's traveling. So while she's at the terminal, the gate, waiting on her plane to leave, she pulls out her book. And she just does it without effort because she's incorporated those steps and those actions into the way that she functions. Another common goal that a lot of people have is to start working out, or to just commit to working out consistently. Think about it this way. Instead of making it this huge goal that might be hard for you to actually attain, like I'm gonna work out 5 days a week for the rest of my life. Just even saying that, if you haven't been working out at all, it might sound good, but when you set out to do it, just thinking about that future big thing of doing it forever can feel like a lot. So when you decide that you're going to start working out and get yourself in better physical shape and healthier, consider how you're going to plug those steps and actions into your day. On your way to drop your kid off at daycare, you could already be dressed to go to the gym, and you make that a part of your day throughout the week to put your workout clothes on before you leave the house to go drop your kid off at daycare. And then after you drop your kid off at daycare, you go to the gym for an hour or so, and then you head back home or you go to your office. Now, don't think about doing it 5 days a week. Just think about what you want to be able to say to yourself the following week about what you did the previous week. Did you actually work out 3 days last week? If you did, I'm going to say that that's better than what you did before, which was not doing it at all. And you found a way to get it in. Sometimes you went after you dropped your kid off at daycare. Sometimes you may have worked out in your den using your stair step and you did your own little step aerobics class. You were able to dance to the music and have a little fun and be able to say that you worked out while doing it. Looking at the previous week and saying, wow, I actually worked out 3 days last week, or maybe 4, but I didn't focus on how I was gonna work out 5 days this week. I just focused on how I could get it in each day. And as long as I keep doing that, the next week, I look back and evaluate what I was able to do. Maybe I look back over the course of an entire month and I realize there was 1 week I worked out 4 days. There was another week I worked out 5 days. There was a week I worked out 2 days. But when I look back at the entire month, I worked out consistently, which is much better than the nothing I was doing before. Have you thought about doing these kinds of things to help you incorporate steps and actions, the things that it's going to take to help you accomplish your goals? Thinking about how you can make them doable for you, doable in a way that fits how you function. Just focusing on those everyday actions that you know you can do without a whole lot of effort. Tell me what you think about that down in the comments. I hope that you got something from this today and that you'll consider trying breaking down your goals into practical steps that you can just incorporate into how you generally function. I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe, and be sure to hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified anytime I upload new videos. All right, now keep it on and popping, y'all. Bye. Hey there, beautiful people. Instead of the idea of folks Instead of the idea of focusing on a huge